Bills Mafia, how you guys doing tonight? It is 8:22 on Friday night, and I just cannot wait till Monday. But tonight we're going to discuss the pregame show at Highmark Stadium, the Bills home opener against the Tennessee Titans, who unfortunately have had our number the past 2 years. But the Titans are a different team, and so are the Buffalo Bills. And even last year, it was just a fantastic game up until the last play, which we ended up losing. But overall, this is just a team that we just can't seem to beat. They always seem to be more physical than we are. But with the new additions on the defense this year, I absolutely think it's going to be a different story. You know, Titans, I watched that game against the Giants, and I really wasn't impressed. Not that the Giants didn't play a good game or have a good game plan, but I watched the specific game twice, and then I watched all 22 film of it. And the Titans are not the same football team. You know, they got Robert Woods, but they have a ton of rookies on that offense. They lost a couple offensive linemen, including Roger Saffold, who's now in the Buffalo Bills. And then they lost Harold Landry, one of their best defensive players, to an ACL tear, which absolutely hurts them. It doesn't crush them completely, but it does take a huge piece off that defense. They still have Kevin Byard, who we will talk about. But all in all, they started off hot. They were up 13-0 on the New York Giants, and the Giants came all the way back and then ended up winning the game, and then the Titans kicker missed a field goal. But they did a good job handling Henry. I think it was 20-something carries for 80 yards, which is still good, but, you know, keeping him out of the end zone and under 100 yards is still an impressive feat. And Hilliard, he did have 2 touchdowns, but he didn't have much yards on the ground. And then the rookies, they looked okay, Treylon Burks and Kyle Phillips. But again, going against this defense in the secondary, I really don't think that it's going to be, especially with the possibility of Dane Jackson being out, I'm not concerned in the least about having Christian Benford and Kyer Elam starting, because the Titans offense has a couple rookies on it as well in the receiving core. So to be honest, I'm not too worried. But as you guys know, I go in beginning the show with who to watch on both sides. And then I give our keys to victory, and then you guys will put them in the comment section, and we can discuss further. For us, the first guy to watch, Tremaine Edmunds. Tremaine Edmunds, he's in a contract year. We all know this. And a lot of the Bills Mafia is divided on, should we let him go? Should we sign him? There's a lot left on the bone that he needs to produce, but he's also gotten over 100 tackles every year since he's 19 years old. He's now 24. So there's a lot more people want to see from him. I know me specifically, you know, I played linebacker, obviously not in a professional football league or anything, but the thing is about Tremaine Edmunds, when you're a middle linebacker, you got to be vicious and hungry and just ready to rip someone's head off and beat them to the hole when he waits instead of tries to beat them. So he waits for the running back or the fullback or whoever's carrying the ball to get to him, and then he tries to make a tackle. That's something I want to see him change, and I know a lot of other people do as well. But he needs to have a great year, especially if he wants to be on the Buffalo Bills. I think if he makes those improvements, he will be back on this team. But he has to really fight this year more than ever, especially he got his 5th-year option. So he's already thinking, oh, well, they're not really sure about me. I got to show them. But definitely got to watch Tremaine Edmunds, especially against a running back like Derrick Henry. Also, along with that, the DBs. I know I said I wasn't worried, but with Dane Jackson out, now you're going to put 6th-round pick Christian Benford and 1st-round pick Kyer Elam, who have 1 game of NFL experience in a very important CB1 and CB2 role. Again, with Poyer and Hyde behind them, it's really not that much to worry about. But it's still a primetime game. It's the first home game for the Buffalo Bills, so they might feel jittery and excited and feel like they got to show out. And and that's great. And I'm not really worried about it, but at the same time, you never really know. Me personally, I'm fine, but when it comes to game time, it could just be, oh well, now I'm the cornerback 1. I got a lot more responsibility than being the CB2. Again, I'm just speaking. That's probably not even true, but it's just something to keep an eye on, especially because they were taking Elam out and then putting Benford in for him, and Benford got the start. SCB2 last week. But there's something to keep an eye out. And then lastly for us, the interior offensive line. And I say that because of Jeffrey Simmons. This guy, if you watch the film or just watch him play in general, he's just a havoc wreaker. He's so good. He's so strong and fast, and he just bullies people up front. And yeah, we had Aaron. He's not Aaron Donald, but at the same time, that defensive line on the Titans is. I always say the Titans and the Colts are the most physical football teams every year. Not the best football team, but always the most physical. So regardless if Aaron Donald's on the field for the Titans or not, which obviously he isn't, that's still a tough defensive line to play against. Bud Dupree often lines up next to Simmons, so it's gonna be tough for the interior offensive line. We're gonna look for Ryan Bates, who I don't know if it was an accident or not, but got a 9 out of 100 PFF grade for pass blocking last week. So between Ryan Bates, Mitch Morris, and Roger Saffold, it's gonna be a lot of work for them, keeping Josh Allen clean like last week and limiting Jeffrey Simmons. Speaking of Jeffrey Simmons, Tennessee Titans players to watch. Simmons had 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and 6 pressures in the Giants' loss. And he's just so good. Like every play you watch him, he's just watch out for this guy, watch out for this guy. I think he's number 98, but he's just absolutely an incredible football player, and he can destroy any game plan. So limiting him, just like we had to limit Aaron Donald, and we did. 1 sack, 2 pressures, and 29 pass attempts. You got to do the same thing with Simmons because he's just the dog. Henry and Hilliard, as I mentioned, Hilliard, he's new on the scene for the Titans, but he had 2 receiving touchdowns, so they're going to use him a lot. Didn't have a lot in the rush game, but again, of course, Henry's going to get at least 20 carries guaranteed. And the good thing about that is I think this run defense is much improved, and they're up for the challenge. And I'm excited for it because I know that Ed Oliver and Tim Settle are probably going to be out because they were DNP today, which is Friday. So we'll find their game status out tomorrow. But still with Jordan Phillips and Daquan Jones and Von Miller and Boogie Basham and, all these great guys in the defense, Greg Rousseau, Epinesa, they're going to be missed, of course, but I still think they can get the job done. And I'm very excited to see that. And then, of course, you got Kevin Byard. He always seems to get a pick whenever we play, and he's one of the top safeties in this league. He didn't have a great game against the Giants, give up a lot of yards and a bad completion percentage, but he's still one of the top safeties in the league. He had a rough game, so you got to look for him to bounce back against us, especially when they always love to beat us. They have our number. I think last time we won was 3 years ago when they had Mariota. So a lot of people say, if we had Tannehill, it would have been a different story. But nonetheless, still got a lot of great guys on defense, even with Harold Landry injured. Now, keys to victory for us. Obviously, you got to limit Simmons because he can wreck your game plan in a heartbeat. He can stuff the run. He can get to the quarterback. He's big and fast. So it's going to be a lot of work for the offensive line to, have 2 good weeks in a row. That's what I'm looking for because you win up front. Oh, and I say this every time we play the Titans. You got to wrap up when you tackle. And I'm talking to the DBs, and especially Tremaine Edmonds, because whenever they see a big running back who weighs more than 200 pounds, they try to arm tackle. And you learn that at the lowest level of football. I know I never played pro or in college, but you learn that at the lowest level regardless. So you should not be arm tackling in the professionals, especially against Derrick Henry, because it's not going to work. So wrap up, beat him to the hole. Yeah, it might hurt if you get hit, but if you hit him hard, if you hit him first, then they always tell you, hit him first and make him not want to come back to that hole. Derrick Henry won't, be fazed by it, but he'll feel it because he's been getting hit hard. The last couple of games I've seen him playing, he's been getting hit hard. So he's got to keep beating him to the hole. Keep Henry out of the end zone. I know he's going to probably get a good amount, at least 70 yards, but as long as he's not scoring and we're scoring and limiting that offense, because the passing offense looked okay, but without A.J. Brown, there's no true deep threat or physical guy in that receiving core that I'm even the least bit worried about. Hold on to the football. We had 2 fumbles in the game against the Rams, and then we had 1 bounce off of McKenzie's chest, which turned into an interception. And check the weather report today. It's going to be pouring rain on Monday night. Of course, we can't get one nice day when we play in Buffalo, but let's not spend $1 billion on a dome. Let's just get the same stadium again. But yeah, the weather might play a factor. I know I've seen Josh live and in person throw the ball in the pouring rain, so I'm not worried about throwing, but I'm worried about catching because he throws darts and it's going to be wet. So catching the ball and holding onto the football, ball security is very important for this week. And we can start off 2-0. We can get that monkey off our back that we can't beat the Titans, because I know we can. And then we go into Miami week, and we'll talk about Miami, but let's beat the Titans. I'm going to say, I don't normally give out score predictions, but I think if you really think about it, even with the weather at play, we're going to win by at least 2 scores at the very least. So it might be bold to say because they've had our number, but I'm very confident in this team. So like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to know a little bit, we're working on something new here. I might as well just tell you guys, of course. But me and LIT the Mafia, we had a conversation, and we are planning to do film studies with all 22s with our game from the previous week and then the team we're playing. So, for example, we're playing Miami next week. So after this game, we're going to watch our film from this game, dissect it, a few plays here and there, and then watch Miami's film from their previous game and get ready for our game against Miami and see what could work for us, what works for them, what weaknesses we see with their offense or defense, and how we can exploit that. And I think it's going to be a great fun time for all of us. Thanks for all that, guys. Much love to everybody. Until next time, go Bills.